Hi everyone, I'm Matt from the Hope Factory and I've got Raksha here with me.
Hi.
Raksha is a Shopify expert who's been working with Shopify for over 5 years and has helped build over 300 stores. So the first thing that we wanted to talk about was design. Design's a very important part of any online store. One of the reasons is it allows you to compete with your bigger competitors, because if your store looks great, people will assume that you're an established business and you're a big, trustworthy business. When people are buying online, they obviously want to know that they're going to get the product sent to them, it's going to arrive, that it is as it is shown to be or it's explained. And if there's any problems, that they can get back in touch with the store owner.
Yeah.
So we do see, I guess, Raksha, a lot of stores, perhaps that they've just been built, and we get the client saying to us, look, I've built my store, but I'm not getting any sales.
Yeah.
And there's often a few sort of very similar problems that we do see, I guess, that shows, or that we can see that why people perhaps would go to the store and wouldn't buy. So do you want to just talk about a couple of those sort of issues that we often see?
Yeah, as you mentioned, design. Design plays a very big role in any store you build. So the very first thing when anyone enters or opens your website is the logo. The logo needs to be very good and sharp, because most of the time you have seen many people have their website, but the logo is really blurry. You can't even read anything in logos. So that's something which you have to keep in mind, because the logo also builds kind of a trust, because they know that that's your company logo.
Yeah,
that's your brand.
And do you think that another thing, I guess, touching on that, is that some people obviously, when they get the logo designed, they tend to perhaps go to, like, there's some options you can go online like Fiverr and they actually get a cheaper version of a logo.
Yes.
And look, that's probably okay to get at least an idea of what you want, but it's probably important to get a proper logo design. And one of the reasons would, I guess, be, as you said, about the blurriness.
Yes.
Often with those cheaper logos, you don't actually get a really high-res version. And that's why it doesn't display very well.
At the end of the day, you can also keep that logo in your file, and you can always use that whenever you want.
Exactly. Like, obviously, if you have business cards made, or look, it's possible, I guess, depending on the business down the track, you may need some signage used, other opportunities like that, maybe YouTube videos. Yeah, exactly. So the logo, that's a good point. So apart from the logo, what are some of the other things that you see, let's say on the homepage, which would sort of suggest, or that is a giveaway that it's not perhaps a professional business or not a professional online store?
Yeah, after logo, I will say the banner images. You need to have a really good banner images, because
so just to be clear, so banner image, you mean that main image
the
that
one
we sometimes
which slides.
Yeah, so we sometimes call that a slider. So that first hero image that people will see. Yeah.
And then after banner images, product images.
Sure.
Because if your product images are not that great, and if it's not high resolution, then it's really, because you have to understand people are viewing your website in other devices, phones, laptop, desktop, different screen sizes. So all these images needs to be really high resolution, but not that high that it makes your site slow.
Yeah. So that's a good point. There's a balance between, you can actually, obviously you want that image to look as sharp as you can, but sometimes people probably put an image in at too large a size, and it does slow down the site. Now that's obviously going to give you a bad user experience.
Yes.
Just going back to that point about product images, I think it's really, let's face it, you are showing what you are selling.
That's
and
right.
So if the product doesn't look good, why would I buy it?
That's another thing. That's how people want to trust you. They normally see the photo of the product and they buy that particular product. Then sometimes they don't even read description, because they want to see the product which they are buying. And if you don't show the product images properly, they won't buy your products.
Yeah. I guess another thing would be also with the product images is having them on a standard background.
That's right.
Because sometimes you do see people have product images with different backgrounds, and it just looks sloppy, doesn't it?
It kind of gets confusing what exactly you're looking at, because you want your product image to be the hero, the product to be the hero in the background.
Yes.
So I will highly suggest to have like a white background or a gray background, depending on the product you're selling, to make it easier.
So the other thing, I guess, is the product images. It's obviously important to I mean, this is your product that you're selling, so it's got to look good. Otherwise, why would I buy it? And I guess one of the things is people sometimes don't have a consistent background on their product images. So what would you suggest in terms of, a background? Obviously standard.
I will suggest to have a standard background.
And all the, like a white, I guess it depends on...
Depends on the product, especially if your product is white. You don't want to have white background.
No, of course not. No, but you do want it to stand out, I guess.
Stand out, your product needs to stand out from your background.
Yeah, and also nice and clean. Often on a white background, it can look quite clean as well.
Yeah.
The other thing I guess to think about is if you're clothing, do you use models or not?
It depends. It depends at the end of the day, even though you use model or you don't use model, but it's a matter of how you take your photo and how you present it, how you put it online.
Sure.
I have seen so many stores where they don't use models. They just, photos of the products.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
Just depends, I guess, on the product. Yeah. Just going back a bit, just wanted to talk a little bit more about the main hero image. Now, I guess people might sort of go, if they're starting off, they might say, well, how can I get that image? Now, you've probably got two choices.
Yeah.
You can get a photographer. Well, there's probably three. You can go and take a photo yourself. The second option would be you can get a photographer, and as part of shooting your products, you can perhaps get them to also shoot that slider or the main image. Obviously, what are some important things to think about when you're thinking about that main slider, in terms of the actual size and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so whenever it's a matter of how you choose, which theme you choose. So each theme has got their different slider sizes. And then I will suggest whenever you go and purchase any theme, go and look at the themes. I will say all the description, what it is and what's the size of the images you need to use. And basically give that size of image, the image size to the photographer, and they can resize it for you. And the important point in the banner, you have to always feature the products or how a product can be used. And if you're graphically adding the text in the banner, then you have to put the text. You don't want to put the text on top of the hero image, so somewhere where it's a bit visible.
Yeah, sure.
And that call to action button is important.
Sure. So with that, just going back a bit, so you can obviously use a photo that you take or a photographer takes. Yep. What about using stock images, which obviously a lot of websites do use? Do you see any disadvantages around using stock? No?
I feel that stock images are a really good option people have because they always come into really good resolution size.
Yep.
And when you resize that stock images, it's kind of really does look good and it kind of blends in with the size, whatever size you want to use in your Shopify.
So just explaining a bit further about stock images, there's a lot of different providers out there that basically allow you to go and create an account and then buy an image for probably around $10 for a high res. There's different pricing plans.
You can buy it in bulk also.
Yeah. And that gives you the rights to use that image on your website.
Yeah.
So that's another option, I guess, that we do often suggest, and we'll obviously help people sometimes with our graphic designer. Just going back to the main image and talking around the text that actually gets put on, I think that's a good point as well. It's important to think about the message that you've got, but also as you're describing, how do you actually put that text onto the image? Now, we can use a graphic designer obviously to do that. But some of the templates do allow you to put text. Okay.
So when you're choosing, it's all depending on the template you choose. Because that's one of the major part of your website, depending on which template you want to use. So if you're going to use a template and you're going to put a photo, say in the banner image, there is a hero, a person posing, which is in the center. So you have to really understand which section you want to put your text to be, the centered, left or right align. That's what is all going to merge in. And then at the end of the day, we also have to understand that we have to make the site responsive.
So when you say responsive, you're talking about when someone looks at it on a tablet or a phone. And I think that's a good point, because obviously the text may appear a certain way on desktop, but then when it goes small, it's got to actually shrink, and sometimes you'll see that text will disappear or gets cut off.
Some of the theme is not having that option to show the text on the image, so it kind of just shows call to action button instead of the text.
Okay. What about some of the other elements of a homepage that are important that should have, I guess, are a bit of a giveaway that it's a professional store, or it's perhaps not so professional? Is there some other parts of the?
Yes, the footer.
The footer,
Footer plays a very big role.
So what is when you say footer, what do you mean? What is the footer for people to understand?
Something when you see at the bottom of the website, which has the policies and newsletter and social media icons.
Okay, yes. And there's basically a certain look that most professional sites have, isn't there? It's just a general layout with the footer. Yeah. And I guess we do sometimes see, or quite often with people who've just launched, they don't have a privacy policy, returns, refunds. And to be honest, people probably don't think that's that important. But as a buyer, if you don't see that footer, you probably already go, well, this isn't possibly a big business. It's probably just someone who's just started, maybe in their bedroom running and so that doesn't promote that feeling of trust.
That's right.
So what are some of the elements that, just to go back on the footer, what are some of those things that you would usually have on the footer, and is it also the look of the footer which is important?
I feel that having a policy, all the policies, that is privacy policy, delivery and refund, terms and condition, FAQ, which is also one thing which people look for in the website, because if you're selling a clothes and you don't know, you want your customers to know what exactly is the major question they normally ask, what's the size of what material it is. So FAQ is one of also important thing. People look into your footer. Contact.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Now, I think this is another thing where people sort of make a big mistake, is they don't have the contact details clear. Now, if I'm buying, or if people are buying and they don't see any contact details, they probably worry, again, what if something goes wrong? What do I do? Is there anyone behind this store? As you say, now, I guess sometimes it's a thing where people might go, well, I don't want my number to be on there. Personally, I think that's a mistake. I think you've got to have some contact number, because you are running a business, and you do, yes, it doesn't mean you need to answer the phone all the time. It could go through to a voicemail service or have a message. But you would agree that it's important to have a number, and an email address that people can contact you on.
So when we do contact form, it's important. There's 3 things you have to put in your contact form. One is phone number, another one is email address, and third one is the contact form. Whereby it kind of plays the role whereby if a person cannot call or email, you can use the contact form, fill in your name, your phone number, your message, and then click the send button. It goes directly to the person who's running the store.
And a contact form's standard as part of a Shopify site.
Right. Yes.
Just going back a little bit, the other thing that I guess around that, having contact forms, is talking about whether, and you see this on a lot of sites, they do have like a live chat or a chat option.
That's good.
And I think that is, because it's a way, if someone's on your website and you can actually engage with them directly, answer questions. So how would you get that set up? How would you get like a live chat set up?
So the good thing of Shopify is it's built in with plenty apps. So you can have live chat app for free, or you can pay amount till $90, depends. So
what's that based on? Why would you pay more?
So live chat, most of the live chat you can go and interact yourself. Sometimes you can, certain chat app allows a third party to go and do it for you.
Okay, so you've actually employing someone else to actually
do the work
based on a script that you would provide.
That's right.
So they answer certain questions. I guess, I mean, we actually do this on our website, but we do it ourselves. The idea being that if someone's on the website, we try and get their contact details so that we can call them and obviously try and talk about if we can help them out with, a particular service.
Me personally, I like having website whereby it's having the chat functionality, because it makes your life so easier. Instead of waiting for them to email you, you don't even know when they're going to email you. So live chat is something whereby a person is sitting there and, to answer your questions.
What about people's concerns that, but I can't always be on ready to answer those questions? How does that, do you think that's an issue, or how does it work if they're not there?
some of these live chat app, what it does, it kind of also connects to your phone.
Okay.
So example Messenger, Facebook Messenger.
Yep.
You have to install Facebook Messenger in your phone in order to message anyone. So now Shopify is having this Facebook Messenger whereby you can integrate in Shopify and also in your Facebook.
So it'll actually go to your Facebook Messenger
right, yeah.
service. Okay. And I guess the other thing is that also if you are offline and you're not there, it can actually just fill out a contact form, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Someone can actually fill out the chat thing, and it will actually send an email. So, you know, it's not like you don't have to be on there all the time.
You don't have to.
People don't always expect. Obviously, it's probably better if you can be on there a little bit.
Yeah.
But and just look, you've touched on some great stuff there. But I think what you mentioned earlier was around the theme selection, and that's another thing that I guess we, as part of a project, will often help people, and it's a big part of what we offer.
Yeah, we do.
Is picking the right theme. So what are the important things to think about when you're picking a theme? I mean, first thing I wanted to sort of mention is that you've got themes that are supported by Shopify.
Yep.
And then you've got what's called third-party themes. So what's the difference between one and the other?
First is the Shopify theme is something which is supported by Shopify, and Shopify supports you 24/7. If you're having issues with the theme, their technical department is there to help you out with the theme. But if you're using third-party theme, Shopify won't be supporting that theme.
Okay.
And you have to go back to that particular theme developer to ask them to fix that problem. But then again, what if your store is a bit busy and you have got some issue with your cart? And you have to contact
because you can't expect the theme developer to get back to you straight away.
No, they don't get back to you straight away. No.
Some are good and some
are. Some normally replies to you end of the day.
Yeah.
And then some takes a fair bit of time because, of course, we have to keep in mind the time zones.
Yeah, time zones. And also, I guess you might have a theme developer, which is just 2 or 3 people.
That's right.
You might have another one like Bold Apps, let's say, they've got over 100 people.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously there's differences in the service that they can offer you.
Yeah.
But when you talk about a Shopify theme and a third party, how would I know, like when I'm looking to say purchase a theme, how do I know which is a Shopify theme?
What you have to do when you go to a Shopify website, they have got a theme menu. So all the theme in that particular menu is Shopify theme.
Okay.
But when you go and search in Google Shopify theme just itself, then you'll see there is a theme forest or other.
Yeah. But is it also the case that you cannot buy a non-Shopify theme through your Shopify dashboard? So if you're in the Shopify dashboard and look for themes, they're all Shopify supported themes, is that right?
They're all Shopify supported.
Yeah, okay. So that's another way that you can actually go on and do that.
Yeah. So you can go to your Shopify dashboard. Right at the bottom, there is a button where you can go and click to view all the themes, which is provided by Shopify.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe we might just show people how to work that just in this little video after this.
Definitely.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can go and select your good theme for your website. So there's 2 ways of selecting. First, you can go and type just Shopify themes and it's going to take you to Shopify themes in the Shopify website. Another one is going to your admin, going to online store, and then going to themes. And then when the theme page opens, you can go and click on visit theme store. Wait till it opens. So it shows all the cool themes which Shopify has already published. So what you can do is you can always go and check from the collections they have got or new themes. You can scroll down. You can find the theme according to the industry you are from, or sorted by most popular or relevant theme. So let's go and start up with the most recent theme. So when you go into the themes, the most important thing you have to always remember is what things you sell and what you want your store to look like. So example, let's go and look at this, the very first theme. You can go and view the demo of the theme by clicking on view demo, and then you can see the layout of the theme. This is how the theme will look like. And when you open up any theme, just imagine that this is your store. This is how your photos are going to look like, probably your product photos or collections, and your lookbook, how your lookbook will be looking like. So it's a matter of how you want your themes, how you want your store to look like, and that's how you can choose your theme. Most important thing you have to always remember is your theme needs to be responsive. Most of Shopify themes are responsive. And another thing you have to keep in mind is that when the look and the feel of the theme, you want your customers to be able to navigate to your site. The functionality of your theme, the pages needs to be very good, because you don't want your customers to find it difficult to buy your product. So I hope this video was helpful. If you have got any comments, please comment below. We'll be happy to answer your questions. Thank you. Bye.